How's it going, YouTube? Oxy here, and welcome back. So, I got some unfortunate news, but it's software. Big fan of them. They're the studio behind, such titles as Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake. One of the most important video game companies of all time. I mean, Doom really, changed the face of just the gaming industry, right? It's one of the most influential games of all time. Without it, the first-person shooter genre wouldn't be as popular. Games like Call of Duty, and that's still like the best-selling games. It's like they changed the industry, and unfortunately, they're so not the studio itself. I do believe there are a lot of good, hardworking people there. Like talented people, but fortunately, like upper management, specifically like Marty Stratton, have just a lot has come out. So Mick Gordon, he's a composer, right? He makes I think he's the best composer in the industry right now. Guy, probably most well known for the Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal soundtracks, which are both, like S tier outstanding. He also did the Wolfenstein and the New Colossus soundtracks. He did Prey, the 2017 game by Arcane. Killer Instinct, which to me is the best soundtrack of the generation of the PS4, Xbox One, 8th gen. Best one by far. And it's wild to think that Killer Instinct was a launch title for the Xbox One. So we're talking about a soundtrack that, in my opinion, came out at the beginning of the generation and was not topped. Like, seriously, check out the Killer Instinct soundtrack. It is amazing. But I bring it up because with Doom Eternal, for the collector's edition, there was a promise of an official soundtrack release. Like, you would get a copy of it and it would be on like Spotify, iTunes, that sort of thing. And that was over 2 years ago. And that the day has since come and gone and nothing. But the reason I just wanted to talk is a lot has come out. So Marty Stratton, again, he was the executive producer for Doom 2016, but then he since was bumped up to studio director after Eternal but you get it. Like, he moved up. He put out an AMA about that. He made it seem that Mick Gordon was kind of like lying about like the soundtrack because it never came out. There was clearly like tension there between him and id Software. And, as fans, we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But yeah, there was a long AMA, which you could look it up in the Doom Reddit, right? They have them pinned like this, and the new, what Mick Gordon has come out with now, like his side of the story. And yeah, Marty just made it seem like Mick was like he was given all the chances, that he just took too long, and that ultimately he failed on his part. And I, like many, was just like, because id was one of those companies that I really like respect. For me, it's the two softwares, id Software and FromSoft. Like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, like those two. I'm like, no matter what they release, that's like an instant pre-order. Which pre-ordering in general is very stupid, but that's how much I trusted these companies, where it's like whatever they put out is quality. Even if I don't like it, for example, like Sekiro, I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I can still say that's like a 10 out of 10 game, like, very, quality. And that's what I'm used to from them. But yeah, like, they just made it seem like he was the one at fault. And then for the longest, Mick was pretty silent, but, as fans, like, everybody would ask him, like, hey, what happened? People would even go as far as to, like hate mail, and, and it's like, come on, like, whoever's right or wrong, ultimately, it's like, they're all people at the end of the day, and, like, you can't do that. But recently, Mick came out with his side, a huge, long, essay document, which again, linked in the subreddit, but I'll have a link in the description below so you can read it for yourself. But Mick has his receipts. So this man has like screenshots, emails, and he really, like, I won't go into detail. I think you should read it for yourself because he really goes step by step, like even disproving like everything Marty and Pete, like Id said. And it's, yeah, like looking back at it now, it's like, damn, like, because I was one of those people that like, I was kind of like, damn, is Mick Gordon really like that difficult to work with? Now, no, I didn't send hate mail or nothing because, it's like, come on, like, what are we, children? But yeah, after reading that, I've read it myself. It was just like, wow, like, like again, Marty, like, I don't know you, you don't know me, doesn't matter, right? I'm just some guy, with the camera. But I don't know, it's like, wow, man, like, it's like, what did you have against Mick? Like, right, and we don't know, we weren't there. But Mick has way more evidence to support him, so, it's looking like Marty's the one that was lying. It's like, wow, like, you really, like, went out of your way, like, full-on, like, narcissist to, like, be the good guy in the end. And then they even try to pay him off with, like, hush money to not talk about it. It's like, wow, like, the studio I once looked up to, and then it's like, now they're doing this. It's, like, sad. I mean, like, keeping it real, like, am I going to buy the next game? Yes. Because ultimately, it very much, and Mick even stresses this himself, that the developers were like a wonder to work with, like very cool people and that sort of thing. It was just more of the management or the higher ups there that really bogged everything down or had unrealistic expectations. And they just have like no people skills. Like the way he explains, like, they would almost threaten too. It's like, oh, like if you don't do this by this, it's like threaten legal action, that sort of thing. It's like, wow, like you hired this person, and then now you want to do this. And then there's also the issue of like Mick hasn't been paid for over, like, he was contracted, I think, as a composer for like a certain amount of minutes, like a little over 2 hours, but there's over 5 hours of music in the game, and like, he has his right to that. And it's like, wow, it's disappointing, to say. Like, again, it's software. I love you. I love your games. Like, Doom is my favorite franchise of all time. It's really sad to say. And then, hey, they did get acquired by Microsoft, though, so I could only hope Phil Spencer, any executives, not that you would see this, but, you would hope that there'd be some restructuring there, that sort of thing, because that type of culture is not needed. Like when Microsoft bought Bethesda, I was ecstatic. For me, id Software was the biggest acquisition there, because I'm like, you literally have gaming royalty, or like history, like one of the OGs, and like still killing it. Doom Eternal by many is like one of the best shooters of all time. And it's like, it's a shame that all this type of drama and like unnecessary bullshit had to go down. Will we ever see that soundtrack? Maybe. Again, I think Microsoft could facilitate that now, but I would hope that Mick gets his fair share, his payment. Again, it's really sad. I hope like Hugo Martin, who's like the game director, seemed like a very good guy, in his public appearances, very relatable. Like, I'm like, oh, like, seemed like a cool guy. But even him, you have to bring into question, like, are they who they say they are, right? Like, because, yeah, there's, like, public image, and then there's, like, who you really are. But, yeah, Marty was really the one that was, like, mentioned the most, or, like, he's clearly the one that had, like, an ego problem. And it's, like, it's sad. It's, like, you're all in the business of making games, and you would hope that that's the ideal, right? Just make the best game possible. And I hope everyone can move forward, and, go support Mick, follow his YouTube. He's active on Instagram. Like, check out his music. Again, Killer Instinct, the 2013, banging best soundtrack. Obviously the Dooms. Wolfenstein, like, and the New Order and New Colossus, he did them. Prey 2017. He worked a lot with Bethesda. That's what makes it sad, you know. It's like, damn. And then for this to happen, he, and that's the thing. The reality is he probably wouldn't come back for the next eventual Doom game, because I'm assuming we're getting Quake, right? Like that reboot or you know, you get it, like a new Quake game. That's most likely what it is working on. So it's pretty safe to say he's not in that. But when Doom eventually returns, it would be a shame to not have Mick Gordon back. So Microsoft, I hope, you know, you could do something about it. But ultimately, it's up to Mick, right? If I don't blame him for not wanting to work with them at all anymore, and it's a shame. But yeah, guys, I know just a weird type of video, but I'm really bummed out by it. You know, I love Mick's work. Been a fan since the Killer Instinct soundtrack. I love Doom, and it was like match made in heaven. But to find this out, and it's software being a studio, like I respected, and then now this, it's like, you know, it's sad. But hopefully things go better. Again, support Mick any way you can. God deserves it, and we're with you, Mick. You know, I wish you the best. But yeah, guys, that's the video. If you like this type of content, I make new videos every Tuesday and Saturday. And please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good jazz. And as always, everyone, I've been your host, Oxy. Take care, and I'll see you next time.